So today is our September 26th coffee Q&A. So let's see how many people there are because I do have some. I'm so glad you're all here. All right, so let's dive into some of the questions that I want to ask you so that you can begin to crystallize where you need to take your next step. All right. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, where do I feel the most stuck in my business right now? And there's usually an answer that kind of like, bloop, kind of like bubbles right up. It's like, bloop, here it is. But we usually push it back down and we're like searching for some other like miraculous answer. We usually know what the answer is. So where do I feel the most stuck in my business right now? And then as a sub question to that, what specific tasks or areas in the business feel overwhelming or stagnant? What specific tasks or areas feel overwhelming or stagnant? And so for Danita, you said not being able to get clients. So that's where you're feeling most stuck, which means whatever you've been doing, it's either you're not doing it enough, you're not doing the right thing enough, or you just sometimes just need to like pivot a little bit. Because there are always clients out there. The moment you have the desire to start the business that you want, the clients already exist. If you believe that, marketing becomes easier because you are taking less of the drama of I can't get clients, all these things are happening to me, so forth and so on. Like, instead of taking that mindset with you, if you believe that they already exist, now it's just your job. This is where I think a lot of people get into trouble. We're used to having a job. Jobs don't prepare you for entrepreneurship. Jobs, you show up, you clock in, somebody tells you what you got to do that day. Even if you have some autonomy in your job, you still know what you have to do. And most of the time, the work that you're going to do, the clients are already there waiting for you because your job has done the job of marketing to get you the clients. So then we become entrepreneurs and we open our doors and we say, I want to help blankety blank blank. But you can't help people without marketing. And marketing is as simple as telling a shit ton of people what it is that you do. It's about pricing your services. It's about being confident in what you're offering. And it's also about believing that there are people who need you right now. Right? So in Fully Booked, like, I have a curriculum that people follow. And when you follow the curriculum, it's the steps on how to get clients, you get clients. Because most people don't have that skill set baked in when they open their doors. Most people don't have experience. I've even had people come through multiple programs that I've offered over the years who have had marketing degrees and could not get clients, because having a marketing degree and working as a marketer for a different company is still different than marketing yourself and marketing your own services. And that's because we all have fears built inside of us, our own fears, our own self-worth issues, our own lack of like feelings of value issues, our own where things went wrong in the past issues. And we bring all of that into our businesses with us. When we have a job, we can kind of like sort of put that, usually we check that at the door as we're clocking in for the work. So there's a big difference between being an employee and wanting to start your own business for a variety of different reasons. Sometimes we want to just get out of a job that we hate. I wanted to run from nursing. I didn't think I would ever want to run from nursing. I couldn't believe that I wanted to run from nursing. And I just needed to get the hell out of Dodge. I was done with it. I was done working with people who did not care. That's why I left. I left not because of the patients, not because of the families that were mean to me all the time, but because of the people I worked with, because they just didn't care. And I could not work in an environment where people did not care anymore. And then there are some people who lose their jobs, and for some people, it's comes from inside. Like you witnessed a family member or a grandparent or a parent navigate things, or you love organizing. You've always been good at organizing, and you want to take that skill that like comes really natural to you, and you think that people won't pay you for it because it comes so easy. But in reality, that's why people need you, because it actually comes easy. What is hard, doing the work is always going to be easy. It's doing the work you have to do the work that is hard. All right, so next question. What barriers do I face in attracting more clients and or staying consistently booked? What barriers do I face in attracting clients and or consistently staying fully booked? Yeah, Zita, we all have a fear to start. I mean, here's the thing. I shared this. We did a lot last week in our fully booked group about fear, because you will have to learn strategies to feel the fear. Like I'm sure everybody's heard, feel the fear and do it anyway, right? But there are strategies that you can use. And just because you have fear doesn't mean, there's a difference between having fear of like walking down a dark alley, turning around a dark corner, walking into a place you've never been before. Like I won't even begin to tell you all what I had to navigate last week flying home from Paris. The ridiculousness that happened. I literally had a panic attack and a breakdown in the middle of Charles de Gaulle because of the intense fear that I had, that had to do with don't speak the language, lost, unable to get help, completely felt alone in the middle of an airport, and people were telling me to go one way, and here I was going the wrong way the entire time. So there's that kind of fear. And then there's the fear of, what if I fail? What if I don't do the right thing? What if I'm not good at this? Fear about what will they think? What will they say? What if I'm not perfect? What if the words that come out of my face are the wrong words? Right? That's not natural fear. It's natural in the sense that we all have it, but it's coming from a place that is outdated in our system. So you have to find ways. This is why feel the fear and do it anyway, because the fear is not going to go away. I guarantee you this. I actually promise you this. 100% the fear is not going to go away. And if you want somebody to tell you that, oh, it's all rainbows and unicorns on the other side, and if you just do your work and your purpose in the world, it will be easy and it will all flow. I'm not your girl for that, because it's a bunch of crap. I literally just finished listening to a book yesterday. I don't usually listen to books. I like to read them, but I'm in the middle of reading a fiction book, and this nonfiction book came upon me, and I really wanted to consume it. So I've been listening to it on Audible, just finished it last night. It is so powerful. It's called The Many Lives of Mama Love. I was crying towards the end of it. What this woman endured, the challenges that she has faced, I can't even, like, you would have to read it or listen to it yourself. But one of the things that she says at the end is, this is like my soul's work. And it wasn't coming easy. It wasn't natural. The physical work that she was doing, she became a writer. That was easy. But putting herself out there was not. So when there's a term that one of my first mentors told me many years ago. She used to say, new level, new devil, right? And what she meant by that was where we are now, we have fears and we have problems. Like, she didn't describe it this way, but this is how I've interpreted it over the years. We have fears and we have problems, right? So right now, some of you might be like, I'm afraid to get started, and my problem is I don't know how to get clients, okay? Then you will have to take action, and you'll have to take different kinds of action. And then you will, you'll all of a sudden, like, you won't be so scared of talking about yourself and your business anymore. You'll have less fear about talking about it, right? So now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I could talk about it. I could tell strangers what I do, da da da. And then the next thing you know, the next level is now you have to ask for money in exchange for the services that you're going to offer. Woo! Whole new set of fears is coming up, right? New devil. You got over the first hurdle. Here's the next one. And then after you do that, there will be a next one. What about the client that didn't like you? Or I had a client the other day, I was coaching, and she is in a relationship with clients that she is not charging the way she should be charging. And they're basically not paying her everything they should be paying her. And she's terrified to have a conversation. Now, she's got a client, but she's terrified to have that conversation because she's afraid to lose the client. Right? So there's your new level, new devil, right? Didn't have clients, didn't have to have this conversation. Now I have clients, now I have to have this conversation. So there will always be fear, which is why I believe coaching is so valuable. So valuable, it's so important, because your coach can help coach you because they're not inside your brain. You're inside your brain, and sometimes you can't find yourself out of it. Sometimes you're in your brain and you get stuck doing the same things over and over again that aren't working. That's why coaching is so valuable. Marzana, I would love to put the book I could put the title in there for you. The problem is that what happens often is you can't copy it. Okay, so going back to the question of what barriers do I face in attracting more clients and or staying consistently fully booked, which kind of goes into exactly what I just said. And are these barriers internal, mindset, confidence, etc., or external, marketing, selling, pricing, or are they even a combination of both? Most of the time, it's a combination of both. Most of the time, we know what we're supposed to do. We just don't do it. And that's because it's the internal stuff. Okay. This one is, I want to break this down into, like, if you're new and then if you're established. Okay. So if you're brand new, I want you to answer this question in this way. How well do I manage my time and energy when it comes to growing my business? So if you're new, how well do I manage my time and my energy when I'm growing my business? Because some of you will say, oh, I sat down, I have these 3 things that I have to do, and I've been putting them off for the past 2 weeks, right? This happens to all of us. This is why we need coaches. I have to have a coach too to help me get out of my own crap as well. And then if you not persistent, yeah, exactly. And then if you do have clients, I want you to answer this question a little bit differently, which is, how well do I manage my time and energy across my client work, my business growth, and my personal life? Client work, business growth, personal life. Because what happens often is you will hustle, hustle, hustle to get clients, and then you have client work, but then you drop the ball on the business growth. Or you hustle, hustle, hustle for clients, you drop the ball on your business growth because you think you're grown because you now have clients, but that's just, you're at that level. Growth is growing into the next level of whatever it looks like for you. And then what's happened to your personal life in the pursuit of? Yes, all three blended. Yeah. And you have to get really clear at defining, like, I'm going to be completely truthful and honest. There are going to be times in your business where you can clearly separate the three. And there will be some of you that are very good at boundaries. Like, I stop work at 5 p.m. every day. I start back up work at 10 a.m. And work does not invade anything beyond those hours. Some of you will be really strong with that. Some of you won't be strong with that. Your work will kind of bleed into your personal, and your personal will bleed into the growth, and the growth will bleed into the clients and the clients. But I will tell you, when you can begin to segment them out, then you can look at them like containers so that your time, energy, and focus are with one at a time. Like, I used to do this with my kids when they were younger. So I have 4 children. One, she went to college and never came home. And when she went off to college, my youngest wasn't quite 2 yet. So there was a big span between she left, and then I had these 3, quote unquote, I called them the littles. So I had the 3 littles, which were 2 and 4. I'm gonna say around, I think he was 9. And in those beginning phases of my business, I was working a lot of hours trying to figure out how to grow my business, right? And I found myself not spending the time I was spending with my kids wasn't as valuable, I'm going to say valuable, and as quality as I wanted it to be. So then I started making sure that there was complete time put aside that was just kid time. And then I also would have quality time with each of them just by themselves. And we would have like mommy play dates on the weekends. And even if I didn't have, like, even if I only had an hour, everybody had a 15-minute play date with mom. And so one at a time, like, we would figure out in advance, what do you want to do with mom? What do you want to play? And they would tell me in advance. And then it was like, one would come in and we would play Candyland. That's what he wanted to play. For 15 minutes, it was all him, nobody else, just focused time. And then he would move on. And then the next kid would come in and she would want to color. And then so we would color, focus time. And then she would go, and then, right. So even though the time that I put in wasn't like, I wasn't putting like 5 hours of time in that way, but that focus time was so valuable. So you need to be thinking about having focus time. And this is like in our 100K club, we talk a lot about CEO time. Because, and this isn't necessarily for when you're first starting out. When you're first starting out, your CEO time is marketing time. You have client time and marketing time and life. When you have clients and you are growing and things feel like they're starting to break in the business and you're losing more and more of your personal time, then what happens is you have client time, client and or marketing time, and CEO time. And CEO time is when you're thinking about the business for the growth of the business long term and what needs to change. Some of you will want to go to that level. Some of you won't. Some of you will just want to replace like income. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you will just want your business to be your side hustle. And then others of you will want your business to be a, like, we'll call it a full-fledged business. Not that a side hustle isn't a full-fledged business. If you're paying taxes on your business, it's a business. But everybody's desires are going to be a little bit different, and keeping in check, thinking about your time and energy across your client work, your business work, and your home life. And then the other thing I will tell you that most people will not tell you is that there will be seasons for all of it. There will be seasons, like, for example, when you become busier and you have more clients, your holiday season will become very, very busy. And you will have less marketing time, you will have less family time, and it's just a season. And then there will be other times in your life where maybe you have less clients and marketing is going to be the season that you're really in. And then there will be other times where life is lifing in a way that it requires your life to be the season that you're giving it most of your time. But it doesn't mean that you have to like not do anything on the other buckets. It just means most of your focus and your time is in the life that you're in right now. So for example, this past summer, I had what I called a mini summer sabbatical because I had a lot of things happening. I had my own health stuff happening. I had one going back to college. I had one who was going to be a freshman in college, and I've been navigating some health stuff with my mother. And my relationship with my mother is very extra, we'll say, and it requires more of me. It requires more of my energy, my mental capacity, my own coaching abilities. It's a lot. And so going into it in June, I made the decision that I need to just have some time. But as you all have seen, it did not mean that I stopped doing my client work. So if you're a member of Fully Booked, you know I just didn't disappear. I didn't close up the doors for 4 months. I was still on our calls. We still had our bonus workshops. I was still there answering all the Q&A calls. I was still doing my client work. I was also still marketing, still sending emails every week, still doing social media, still putting out videos on YouTube, and always thinking about how can I help my community get better, faster results. I was still doing all of that, but the most of my energy was in my life. So you will all have seasons of that. And that doesn't mean that anything has gone wrong. Because many of you, and I think many of you needed to hear that today. The same, yeah, Danita, the same with a full-time job, right? You have a full-time job. So you don't have 8 hours a day to work on your business. You have a full-time job, and now you need to find these gaps in your week that you are committed. This is the difference between the people who have a full-time job and start their business. This is the difference for the ones that end up never leaving their jobs and the ones that end up over the course of maybe it'll be a year, maybe it'll be 2 years, maybe it'll be 3 years, being able to leave your job to go into your business. Here's the difference. Commitment. Commitment and consistency of using the time that you do have available, right? It's kind of like what I just said about with my kids, right? If I didn't have, quote unquote, a lot of time to spend with my kids, but that 15 minutes, that 30 minutes every day that they got, I was committed to giving them that 30 minutes, which nurtured my relationship with my children. So if you're working full time, you need to decide how many hours are you going to commit. Not how many hours you think, but how many hours you will commit to building your business. But here's the thing, you're not building a business. You're building your dream. and then being committed to using that time to move your dream along. There's a difference between thinking about your marketing as shit I gotta do, or doing this is going to help me live out my dream, live out my purpose, live out my calling, live out what won't sleep inside of me. And for some of you, it might be 30 minutes a day. For some of you, it might be 8 hours a day. But just making sure that you're using that time, not to sit and keep researching, not to sit and procrastinate, not to sit with the same thing on your list every day for the next 2 weeks and not do it, but to commit to it and get it done. And then you move to the next step, and then you move to the next step, and then you move to the next step. All right, next question. What skills, systems, or resources do I feel I am missing in my business? What skills, systems, or resources do I feel are missing in my business? Y'all are getting a masterclass today. You didn't even know it. All right, so Marzena, I am so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Please forgive me. Your question, the skill that you're missing is network. Right. And for those of you that are in fully booked, make sure you're answering these questions, because we will work on these this afternoon during our call. Zeta, as I've been listening, I believe a coach is what is missing as a resource. It absolutely could be. I mean, I believe it is. Of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a coach. I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't think coaching is valuable. Eva said systems. Awesome. Okay. We can always work on those, Eva. Okay. Back to my question. Where was I? Okay, here we are. Okay, so what skills, systems, or resources do I feel are missing in my business? And then how would having these in place change my experience in my business? So identify the skills, systems, or resources that you're missing, and then how would having these in place change your experience in the business? I know for me, like and again, everybody's answers are going to be different. All answers are right. Don't think that there's a right or a wrong. Our brain likes to tell us that there's a right or a wrong. There is no right or wrong to the way you answer your questions. These are your questions. These are unique to you. I will say for me, when there is a skill, a system, or a resource I feel I'm missing, and having it in place, how it would change my experience, it's usually like I would feel more confident, I would feel more prepared, I would feel more grounded, I would feel more supported, right? So sometimes it's not even, yeah, if I learn how to do this, I'll have more clients. If I figure out this, I'll have more clients. I'll make more money, right? That's like the logical stuff. But then there are other things that are that are as important, if not more important. And it's how you feel. Eva, less stressed and organized. Yeah, because when you have a system in place for something, you will feel less stressed. Larika, a targeted system of building my clientele, using the system over and over to build. Yes. Marzana, for me, less stress knowing I have prospects in my pipeline. Yes. Okay. For those of you, so I'm going to ask this question two separate ways. For those of you that are just like in the beginning, more early phases, this question's for you. How would my life change if my business were fully booked? How would my life change if my business were fully booked? And I also want to give you another hint. Fully booked is different for everyone. For some people, fully booked is billing out 40 hours a week. For some people, being fully booked is billing out 30 hours a week. For some people, I have a member in our community now. She's billing about 20 to 23 hours a week. But because she has young children, that is fully booked for her, which is why she is now bringing in help in the business, because she has more clients, because she's learned how to market through fully booked. She has clients, but she's fully booked now with the time that she has available to give to client hours, right? Because we looked at client hours, business hours, and family hours. So now she needs to bring in help for the other clients that she has. So again, fully booked will look different for all of you. I have a client that was in fully booked, and then she worked with me in 100K Club last year. And she decided that fully booked for her was working 3 days a week. She was she had already like retired from her original day job, and she had a father who was aging, who did not live in the same state as her. And we worked together on this, because originally she was taking clients like 5 days a week, and then she was taking clients whenever the clients wanted her, on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday afternoon. But what we found was she was stressing about growing her business because she didn't know how to take on more clients, because she always had this other side of concern for her, which was her father aging in a different state. And she wanted to be able to go visit him quite often, like every couple of weeks. She wanted to be able to hop on a plane and go see her dad and spend a couple of days with her dad. So then I was like, then we just restructure your business to fit in your life, instead of fitting your life into the business that your clients demand of you. So we restructured her business so that she just worked 3 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't remember if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but 3 days consecutively, all her clients. So if a client, let's say it was Monday through Wednesday, and a client was like, oh, can you work on Friday? She's like, I don't have availability on Friday. My next availability is Monday. And they could honestly take it or leave it. I mean, I know that sounds kind of harsh, and it's not meant to be harsh, but it was the way that she wanted to build her business. So then her business was fully booked at 3 days a week. And then she had the ability to go visit her dad whenever she wanted to. On those, because then she would have like the long weekends, 4 days in a row. Even I would feel like I have a successful business. Larika would give me more confidence to scale, because I would like to put that 40 hours in my business instead of an employer. Yes. Girl, yes. I mean, that's why entrepreneurs are crazy. We are crazy MRFers, man. We will work 60 hours a week to get paid for like 20, so that we don't have to work 48 hours a week for the man. I mean, and it's so freeing and liberating. In the very beginning, it's not freeing and liberating, because you feel all these constraints around you, and you're still coming out of what it's like to be an employee versus having your own business. And eventually, especially if you stay in my world, I will unravel some of that shiz for you, and you'll be like, oh yeah, it's a Friday afternoon and I want to spend it with my children. Oh, it's a Thursday, Friday combo and the kids are doing something here. I want to do that. I want to spend a couple days with my family on vacation. I want to take multiple weeks of vacation a year. That's the beauty of it. Like, my favorite thing when I left nursing was I never, ever, ever had to get permission to take a vacation again, and I'd never have to work a holiday again for the rest of my life. Working one Christmas was enough for me. And somehow I managed in like 21 years to, well, I worked like mini shifts for Christmas multiple times, but like a full 12-hour shift, I only did that once. And that was enough for me. Reconstruct my time in business. I am looking for 40 hours. Okay. All right. Now, let's see, where was I? Okay, so that was more for the people who are more in the beginning stages. Now, if you are a little more advanced or you have clients or you've been feeling the pull, how would my life change if my business ran more smoothly? How would my life change if my business ran more smoothly? And what opportunities would that open up for me personally and professionally? Yes, Larika, that was my first goal. I think I wrote that goal in 6 years, 2018. Might have been like 2016. I wanted to be able to run my business from anywhere, which really got me cracking on my systems and my hiring and my billing and who was responsible for what and how I communicated with my team. All right, let's see. Okay, last question. What types of support or guidance do I wish I had to overcome these stuck points? Which types of support or guidance do I wish I had to overcome these stuck points? And that will look, again, that will look very different for everyone. Sometimes the support that you're looking for is a coach. Sometimes the support you're looking for is accountability. Sometimes the support you're looking for is a specific like strategy that you just don't understand or you just haven't been able to like crack the code on. Danita, you're in my ear 24/7. Yvette, a coach. That's why I joined Fully Booked. Yes. Larika, a coach instead of thinking I know it all. Yeah, girl, let me tell you. Honestly, we don't know what we don't know. At every stage and at every phase of your business, you actually don't know what you don't know until you get there. And then somebody's like, oh, here. And you're like, oh, shit, I didn't think of that. I didn't know that. I didn't have that awareness. So I will tell you all. So I confessed to my Fully Booked group last week. And I even confessed on the video that went live on YouTube today about one of the loose ends I'm going to tie up is my website. Y'all don't even know. Jesus, I was like, the other day, I was like, man down, send help quick. Because updating my website has been on, and if you've ever done like strategic planning with me, you know that I am a huge fan of like Post-it notes and Post-it note planning and Post-it note idea generating. And so I will get ideas because some of us will constantly have ideas running through our head. And then we think, here's a big problem. Like, it's great. I have so much creativity. I have all these ideas. I have all these things I want to do. And you think that that's wonderful. And it is partly wonderful. The detriment to that is you have all these ideas and all these things you want to do. And in reality, you only have this much time to do them. So we have to like, it doesn't mean that you can't have all these ideas and put all these things into place and have all these dreams. Not saying that at all. What I am saying is that sometimes you have to say, okay, this idea, this thought, this dream, I'm just going to plop this over here for later. because this is actually more important right now. And all these other ideas, because what happens when you have all these other ideas, you are taking, let's say you have 10 hours a week to give your business, and you're taking your 10 hours a week and you're putting it on listening to 20 gurus and 20 different people telling you 20 different things. You're not going to finish anything, right? You're not going to complete anything. You're going to be idea hopping. So anyway, so I do this post-it note strategy that I've done for years, and update and redo my website has been on a post-it note for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. And every year I'm like, not this year. Not this year. My website's a piece of trash. It's a piece of poo. Half of it is broken. The back end of it is breaking. And guess what? I don't actually care, because it's not where 90% of my clients come from. So I don't actually care. So I'll worry about that later. So in very typical Kelly Schaefer fashion, I will all of a sudden one day be like, today is the day we're going to move this project forward. And then I just, let's go. If there's like a divine timing thing that happens with me where I'm like, today's the day, we're going to work on the website. So I start reaching out and asking people. So I was like, I don't want to pay like somebody to like redo the whole thing. I don't want to invest thousands of dollars. So I go on Fiverr, and I do some research on Fiverr. You can get people on Fiverr. They can do things for you on the cheap, but be careful what you do, and be careful what you wish for, and be careful who you pay. So anyway, so I'm like, all right, this guy, he's got a couple good reviews. I send him my thing. I'm like, this is what I want to do to my website. This is the capacity I want it to have. This is I know that these things are all broken. If you can go in and fix, all the plugins and the blah, 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 all the techie stuff. And he was like, sure. He's like, that'll be $300. I was like, piece of cake. Send him his $300. He's working on it. The website is down for 2 days. I was like, oh, okay. So he's going to do it like that. No big deal. No big deal. Most people, when they build your website, and if you're doing a new website, they will have like keep your site alive, and they will build what's called kind of like a dummy site on the side. So they can be fixing that while your website is actually still live. And then when the new one's ready to go, they turn this one off and turn this one on. He did not do that. I was like, okay, I can roll. It's no big deal. It's all right. People aren't finding me there anyway most of the time. Not a problem. Then I'm literally in Paris in my little chateau. It's like 7 a.m. And he's like, it's live. And then I look at it and I wanted to die. I was like, what in living hell piece of shit is this? I was like, I cannot. I was like, where did these colors come from? Where did these 18 different fonts come from? Where did this like 64 font size come from? I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, all right, gotta fix that. So I was like, okay, I'm still on vacation. I'll let you know when I'm back. And I was just like, it just had to be what it had to be while I was away. And then I knew that requiring me to sit down to even get out of my head all the things that were wrong with it would have been like pulling teeth. Because I know how my brain operates. I know my patterns of where I get stuck. And when it's like really big things like this, my brain shuts down. And so I literally need somebody to almost like hold my hand through me even looking at my own website, deciding what has to be fixed. So giving yourself the support that you need and not judging yourself for it. So I knew, I was like, okay, the last time I had an experience like this, that was to this level, where it's really, really, to me, and the way I see it, it's really, really big project. I know what has to be fixed, but I can't even get the information out of my head. So I knew that that's how I was with my systems. And I knew the strategy that I used to get the systems out of my head. So I asked my VA the other day, I was like, okay, we need to put 2 hours on the calendar. And I need you to literally type for me all the problems so that I can send it to this guy and have him fix them. And then she gets in there. She's like, okay, this is a mess. Let me just work on it a little bit. She's like, what's your budget? I was like, 10 to 15 hours max. She was like, okay. So she's been fixing it all week. And slowly by slowly, it's starting to look like a viable website that doesn't have 18 different fonts. It's not in blue. I mean, I've changed some branding colors over the years, but I've never used blue. Blue is not one of my colors. So I'm telling you all of this because what kind of support do you need? And all of you, your support will look different. Sometimes it's getting shit out of your head. Sometimes it's brainstorming. Sometimes it's having a coach figure out why you keep running the same cycles. Sometimes it's having your VA sit with you for 2.5 hours and come up with the long list of all the shit that is got to be fixed. Yeah, of course, Larika. I've been telling you that forever. Stop just telling me the same thing you keep telling me. You're like, okay, coach, I'm getting my website ready. I'm like, girl, don't put all your time and your money in this website. This is not going to be the thing that gets you the clients. All right. So let's see. I think I had one more question here. Oh no, maybe I got them all. Oh, I actually got them all. Okay. So, and then the last thing, I'm just going to shamelessly plug it right here, y'all. How might being part of Fully Booked Business Club help give you the support and the guidance and some of the accountability, some of the hand-holding and the mindset and the strategy? How might being part of that program possibly help you? It's a big, it's a big helper, let me tell you. Okay. All right. So what is one thing, if you all just want to, because we're at the top of the hour and I have some one-on-one clients today and I have Fully Booked this afternoon. So for those of you who are in Fully Booked, bring these questions with you, bring these answers with you, and we'll work on that more this afternoon during our open Q&A call. And then for those of you who are not in the program, just let me know down in the chat, like what's going to be your next step. My one coach, she calls them turtle steps. Like what's the next little tiny step that you're going to take? So you can claim it for yourself. Go ahead and you can just put that down in the chat. All right, Danita, my goal is to join Fully Booked. Well, now is the time to do it because there's a 12-month payment plan and this is the last time that will ever be offered. Plus, we have holiday workshop coming up November, whatever the first Thursday of November is. I forget the date. So if you want to double down on your holiday marketing, we have that workshop in November. And that's all part of the program. Marzana, considering joining Fully Booked. We would love to have you. Yvette, thank you. I'll see you this afternoon. If you're on the fence, Yvette says, if you're on the fence, join Fully Booked. Joe's one of our members too. He's like, He's like, Get your ass in the room. Love that. Zeta, considering as well. Yes. So if you think it's going to help and you need to give yourself, like, there's a question that I've been asked, and I've been asking my students this too. And it comes up in different ways. Like, what are your conditions for thriving? If your conditions for thriving are being in a like-minded community, having support, then why would you not give yourself that? I know it's hard. I know it's hard investing on in yourself. We doubt our abilities. We doubt we're going to do the work. We doubt if we're going to show up. And there's only one way for you to find out, and that is to join, commit, and then just keep showing up. And when lifes, you have access. The group is there for you have an entire year. So imagine what might be different a year from now, having the support versus plugging along the way you have been plugging along, what your results might look like a year from now. Jen, well, I think I've sent out 500 emails, but maybe not. But Jen, if you can put your, if you don't mind putting in your email in the chat there, I'll send you a link after we wrap up this call. Wait for you there. So, and then for those of you who do join like today, we have a call this afternoon at 4 o'clock because we have calls every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then we have our orientation call. I think next Tuesday, we have a welcome celebration orientation call. I think it's next Tuesday. And then we have an insurance lunch and learn with an insurance broker for insurance questions on, I think it's the 8th. And then we have pricing workshop in November, holiday workshop in November, it's holiday marketing in November. In addition to just our weekly calls, our weekly group calls, you get instant access to the entire customer hub, like the training hub with all of the marketing components, resources. I mean, it's life-giving, I'm not gonna lie. Tara, you are so good at marketing. I'll say you're a marketing ninja. Thank you so much. I knew nothing about marketing, but I learned through trial and error. Like, I am not teaching guru marketing. I am teaching stuff that I've actually worked with, used, the pluses and minuses of it, the nuances of it. Like, I can tell you, go networking. Yeah, everybody knows you got to go meet humans, right? But I will teach you like what to do after you meet the humans, how you stay in touch with people, how you nurture relationships. And it's also about finding marketing, even within my system, right? So I have the fully booked marketing system. It's also about making the system work for you, work for your niche, and work for your personality also. So some of us are a little more introverted. Some of us are a little more extroverted. Some of us like to speak. Some of us want to hide behind social media. And so like learning how to use the system in a way that complements you versus you always fighting it too. All right, Jen, I got you. If I can, I don't know if I'll be able to copy it. Let's see. Let's see. And open this little pad thingy here. Will it work? No, it won't. Okay, let me just jot that down because the copy pasty thing doesn't work. Oh, this is funny. I love your email, Jen. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this month's coffee Q&A / masterclass. And I'll see some of you inside the program. I'll see some of you on the flip side. And I'll see a lot of you this afternoon at 4 o'clock.